Putin, who has jailed critics and rivals, took a nonsensical detour in his major foreign policy speech to rail against cancel culture.
Here's a summary of the article.
Speaking at the 19th annual meeting of the Valdai Discussion Club in Moscow, Putin ripped on what he referred to as Western cancel culture, after blaming Western countries for Russia's invasion of Ukraine, provoking China over the self-ruling democratic island Taiwan, and destabilizing global energy and food markets. The speech began as commentary regarding Russia's foreign policy, including some hints about the possibility of dialogue with the West, but quickly descended into a rant about history and cancel culture, even as dissidents on the home front are shut down and jailed. The so-called cancel culture is basically a cancellation of culture that annihilates everything that is alive and creative. It stunts the growth of free thought in economy, politics, and culture, Putin continued. This is not the first time Putin has railed against cancel culture throughout his 8-month-long unprovoked invasion of Ukraine. He previously compared Russia's treatment during the war to that of Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling, saying that they are both victims of cancel culture. He also lashed out against cancel culture in a recent rant about gender fluidity. Notably, Putin's commentary about cancel culture on Thursday comes after numerous documented cases where his critics and rivals have been jailed, or worse, for having opinions that differ from his own.
This post received a score of 14,000, with an upvote ratio of 95%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Someone is mad ye been cancelled.
Coming soon. Russian Yeezys.
Kanye East. Earn Black.
Kanye East Berlin or bust.
Hasn't he already ranted about being piled upon and cancelled for the war? I mean, really, one little mistake, like a genocide of a sovereign nation shouldn't spell the end of one's career, right? Right, do I even need to,
Greater than a genocide of a sovereign nation shouldn't spell the end of one's career, right? It was a cruiser, not a carrier. Winking face.
I mean their single carrier already spends most of its time in dry dock. And when it's out on the water it has the habit of catching fire.
He doesn't actually care about cancel culture. He's just trying to rally a conservative base across Europe and the United States.
And it'll work. Then conservatives see Russia as an ally against the left, and use that to form a narrative that the Ukraine war is left versus right, not east versus west. So conservatives will believe Russia and not believe anything from Ukraine or the left, West. Because if conservatives take power in the other branches of government they can end the support for Ukraine. Hell, one day all this propaganda may have conservatives desire Putin to be president of the USA. GOP senators spend Independence Day in Moscow July 6, 2018.
Then they staged a coup and doubled down on their bullshit. Traitors. Every last one of them.
Seriously, WTF is this timeline when they literally spend Independence Day in the country of an authoritarian adversary? Like that should spell it out loud and clear, but fuck it, it doesn't, and we've got mass load of fucking morons just cheering on the death of the supposed ideals of the US because all they care about is hurting the people they don't like. Fuck every single last one of them. It's a dog whistle to American conservatives. These things he rages about only exist in free societies where public opinion has a little bit of weight to it. In Russia the opinion of its citizens are an afterthought. They couldn't cancel anyone if they unanimously tried. Putin's best bet is to stick to the playbook. Get America to destroy itself. Fastest way to that, to put all your chips on Republican leadership.
I have a theory the new super-religious tact he's taken is not to convince Russians that Ukraine is unholy and bad, but to get ultra-religious Christians in the US to stop supporting Ukraine in the war.
Well, if that's what Putin is trying to do, it worked.
I mean, from someone who read just the title, the US technically has no obligation to help Ukraine, but for fuck's sake we should keep doing it anyway.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.